Hello and welcome to the skating lesson. I'm Dave Lees.
And I'm Jonathan Byer. Hi, Dave, and happy belated birthday, because I have not seen you since your birthday,
Oh,
technically.
thank you so much, Jonathan. Yes. How are you? This is This and That. We are going to be discussing everything going on in the figure skating world. If you're new here, please subscribe below. I forgot. The birthdays are weird when you're.
I know. And I try to make a big deal about it for everyone else. And then when people do the same to me, I'm like, I don't know, who cares? Yeah.
Always, my birthday was always a weird thing because I really loved my birthday is usually during the Olympics, right before the ladies' final. So if my first birthday, I think I've told the story before, but Christy Yamaguchi won on February 21st, right? But my 5-year-old ass went to bed because I wasn't old enough to stay up, right? I would have fallen asleep, but I remember we ate pizza because okay. My mother was real strict, okay? And we were allowed to have caffeine-free Coke once a week, especially during Lent, or we'd get pizza, right? And eat it, right? And we went to bed, and I remember watching Christy and Tanya and Nancy and being like, who are these girls? It was like watching a pageant for the first time. 5-year-old gay with the Aquanet bangs and the shoulder pads, and it was this new world of fabulousness, right?
Yes, it really was that Olympics.
And I went to bed hoping Christy was gonna win. She was so pretty, and I woke up on my birthday and Christy won, and the rest is history, right? And so our family friend had tried to get me into skating the week before. I remember she came over, so we taped Paul and Victor and all of that, right? That's also the same friend that told my mother that I was gay before I was ready to come out. But you know what? These are just facts. She picked up on something when I was 5, right? These are just things.
And she didn't need to. It was not her place to. Yeah.
It's okay. Audrey took me skating for the first time. She's fine. That's everybody. Their strengths are also their weaknesses, Jonathan, right?
Amazing. Okay.
These are just facts. We are not upset about it.
Okay.
Anyway, so I forget where I was going with, but my birthday is weird because then when I was in high school, all my rich friends always went skiing during my birthday. So I was the only one home. Yeah. So
in the Olympics. Yeah. Okay.
Then Michelle went coachless and lost. And we're not over that one. Okay.
I know. Yeah. Many of us are not. Yeah.
Whenever someone says they're going to go coachless now, I'm like, where is Danny Kwan? Where is Danny Kwan to talk about the mistake of this?
Right? Yes. Grab that leather coat, take it out of the closet.
How about okay, the news that Alysa Liu was coming back, I had to say, what was your initial reaction?
Shock, because I think when she left, I think we knew she was ready to leave. She was burned out at such a young age already. And I sort of applauded her for that, because we've seen so many people that maybe do want to leave, or maybe could leave the sport for a little bit or for a while, whatever the circumstance may be. I was impressed that enough time had passed that she wanted to do it. I don't know. Do you think that's the Federation pressuring her? Do you think they approached her?
Listen, I don't see the checks or the receipts, right? Yeah. They would be smart to approach her based on what we saw at nationals and these things. This is, I am with you where I was completely stunned because she made it pretty clear that she hated skating on the way out. But
really disappeared from the sport for a while. Yeah.
But it made sense, right? Everything about her life and about that experience and all of the coaching changes and everything made sense. That's why she would want to. We were all watching a girl go through puberty that had these jumps, that had the bad technique. Once again, when you talk about the technique that doesn't stand up, and then everybody is watching and commenting on her body and how she's growing and all of horrifying, terrible, terrible, right? And the thing is, we saw her perform cutesy as a kid, but she wasn't in the sport long enough to know who she is artistically, right? They kind of tried to solve the problem right before the Olympics, and
did a pretty good job. It seems like now she's going to be working with Massimo more, which was clearly what she always had wanted.
Well, I mean, so it's so interesting. Like people automatically, yes. Did he improve her skating skills? Him and Jeremy, although Jeremy's not listed right now as one of
That surprised me, actually. Yeah.
um but I think Massimo, listen, he worked for Marina Zueva. He knows how to wheel and deal and play. Okay.
Yeah.
Although he's very focused on Palestine right now, if you are on his Instagram. He knows what he's doing. So I'm sure politically, because I think Alyssa, I think they might align there. I think they're outspoken individuals. And that's what makes her a great skater. She has that ability to set her mind to something and do something under pressure and speak out and all of that. I think it would be really interesting if she comes back. I never thought that we got to see her like, we don't get to see anyone like skate. Like, what is your skating ability? What are your skating skills like? Um, and I think it will be interesting to see who Alyssa is, if she is able to. I also want way more information. I mean, this announcement of her comeback was so strange when immediately I thought, where is she? Is she in Northern California? Is she? We didn't know she was at UCLA. I mean, basically, when this girl quit, we haven't talked about her for 2 years,
She
right?
disappeared. Yeah.
She disappeared, and that was her right. And give her the chance to go be a human and be out of the spotlight. And I thought that was pretty clear what she wanted, right? I kind of, I'm gonna be honest, like I hadn't thought about her.
Not at all.
Not at all. Like not positive or negative. Like
Even
just
that bronze medal at the Worlds was sort of like, oh yeah, that happened because it was such a flurry of events around that time.
it seemed like, oh wow, that could have gone to her or Mariah, and wow, she pulled it out. And good for her. But I think now with a bronze medal, either she and her father were really smart and looked at this, and I hope they got some money out of US figure skating. They have that foundation money that Sam Oxier still runs.
Okay.
Right. So there is money that they borrow from because USFS has been having layoffs and massive financial problems for years, but they have all of that money that's in their reserves that they invest. That's what all the Harvard people are on this board. And
I see.
that's the money that's been saving US figure skating for years.
Okay.
It's also that money that attorney is probably going to try to go after.
That was a great interview, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
And there's nothing that, I mean, it was a very serious subject matter. I thought you both were bringing up really phenomenal points. But every time what does he call you, bro?
Brother. Hello, brother. I have voicemails from him, brother. How are you? I was like, oh my God.
It's like, wait, does he not see Dave? But it was, having said that, it was a very, very serious, interesting interview.
Thank you. Yes, and more people have called Randy Hood, as they should, right? Yeah. And that story is wild. Like when that full story comes out, wild.
Yeah.
And speaking, like certain people ask questions, and there are certain reasons why I asked limited questions in certain ways to protect certain individuals and keep things a certain way. I moving back to Alyssa and coming back, you think you have to look at like Jonathan? You watch nationals and I watch nationals. If you're Alysa Liu and you know that you can will yourself to land 6 or 7 triples under pressure, even if you never get a triple axel back, and you just do a triple and a double axel, and you know that the top American female skater is going to be in commercials and that you have a world bronze medal and that you could get maybe that Nike money or that, remember Ashley Wagner in the tire ads and all of those things, right? You have Amber who can land a triple axel, but anytime she does the triple axel, she doesn't do a full long program, and she doesn't seem willing to leave Damon and get with a coach that's going to make her land the full program under pressure. And maybe she's not capable, and that's okay. Right?
Yeah.
And the other person is Isabeau,
right?
Who seems like she's also struggling. I think Alysa Liu just made a chess move that is very impressive. Okay. Like, yes. That to me is like, yes.
And so I just have to say, the major surprise of it was because she seemed so fed up with it and had fallen in that category of like, do I even like this anymore, even though I do it every day? So that's a pretty fast turnaround.
She doesn't have a coach out there. They should fly Paul Wiley. He is not doing enough. Move him, fly him out there to work with her. Okay. She needs someone. You cannot let your top talent be coachless. Okay. We saw how it went for Michelle Kwan. We saw how it went for Yuzuru Hanyu. We saw how it went anytime that these skaters go coachless.
Didn't Phil tweet something like she did list the team? Like, what was the list of names?
Yeah, but then they're in Northern California. It's that Philip Di Guglielmo and Massimo Scali, and they, Philip was with her at I probably botched his name, was at the Worlds with her. But he's going to be in Northern California. So they may do some things over Zoom. And I've done a Zoom lesson before, and it is helpful, but it's not the same as having someone in person. It
can be a supplemental tool, not a replacement tool for the in-person, I would think. But
it's not as good, right? When I have a Zoom lesson with Paul, it's still good, but it's not as good as having Paul in person.
How could it be? Yeah. I mean, because we've not even seen clips of her, like, she's not been doing shows, has she? She's not, like, been on the ice. So I assumed, actually, she's not been stepping foot on the ice.
She wasn't, according to that video. She started back in January and did a triple sal and a triple flip right up.
And I would think, I don't know, for like, I'm comparing it to sort of singing, like if I had not sung for 2 years and was just about to start to dust off my vocal cords and try again, it would be helpful to have it sort of monitored as I came back. Because it'll be easy to push too hard, or can we cut off some bad technique at the pass as we sort of get back into it. I would think you'd want someone there kind of constantly monitoring, but maybe that sort of nitpicky thing, maybe part of the agreement is she has some space around it.
Well, it looks like from what we could see, there was a positive vibe to the whole situation. This is what
in and of itself was a massive change.
Because she appeared massively unhappy in that.
Right. Yeah.
Before. Yeah.
She
looks older, more herself.
So how old is she now?
She's 18.
To think that we're talking like 2 years after her retirement and come back, and she's only 18. And there's a lot of growth that happens in that time period, personally.
And she's in college, so
her perspective is it could be interesting just to see a human being that has grown up in the past 2 years off the ice to then come back and see what's changed about her on ice perspective.
It kind of feels like the last Olympics is coming. Do you get that vibe? Or do I get that, like where the sport is?
In that you think we're headed for a pretty dismal Olympics?
No. In that the sport feels like it has fallen off of a cliff for so many reasons that we're already there. And then the war. It's interesting. I don't think the skating itself was nearly as beautiful. If I post any clip of old skating on Facebook, the comments and the number of views are astounding. When we went to watch Junior Worlds, I was astounded that I watched it a couple days later, and Gia Shin, who was second place, was 17,000. The Russian girls used to be at millions.
Yeah.
Okay. That's horrifying to the ISA. Because what sponsor is going to want to sponsor skating? They haven't announced where US nationals are next year, right? I have to tell you, I think
we should have US nationals in Lithuania.
Yes. But Jonathan, I really believe that they're going to be at SCA. Like that's where this is going. And while there's the trophy room and the performance center to honor Tenley, how tragic that these people performed in front of crowds, and that the ISU has completely devolved. And it was so funny. I posted a video, and Megan, we love Megan. She's authentic to who she is. And sometimes she just doesn't get it, right? And she was trying to say, I posted Michelle Kwan's Dream of Desdemona, and Megan was just arguing with people in the comments, and thank you for the engagement, Megan. Like, thank you for the engagement. But she really thinks skating is better now. And that's her view.
Well, I don't know. I suppose if you're in the skating now, you have to, in a way, believe in what you did. Yeah.
I don't think it's that. I don't think Megan was a 6.0 skater.
No,
And
wouldn't
I
so.
think the IJS allowed Megan to mathematically become more successful than she would have been under a 6.0 system. So
Yes.
of course she's inclined to like it.
Yeah.
Because she would have been marked down in the other system.
She wouldn't know how to count points or strategize that same way if you're talking about vague differences between a 5.7 and a 5.8.
Yes.
Here, it's
wouldn't have liked her extension. They wouldn't have liked her deportment and her posture and those things, right? Yes.
She is also a workaholic. So who's to say if she came up in a different system, she may have just had to have shifted her priority.
She would have shifted. But I think it was easier for her to get to the top quicker under the IJS.
Got it.
In a more objective way, even though it's really not as objective. But I think her doing the side-by-side triple Lutz under that system with the point value being so specified allowed her to have a competitive advantage. I think she would have been roughly as successful under each system, but I think it would have been tougher for her under the old system because it would have been more objective and you would have felt under 6.0 that people just hated you.
Well, and when we went back and we're doing all those Olympics and World Championships under 6.0, when we were judging them, it was fascinating to me to see a lot of the judges' scores for technical merit when something huge technically had been accomplished. It wasn't always bumped up the way it is in IJS. Someone could have landed this huge triple axel or side-by-side triple Lutzes, and it like barely showed up in an advantage in the technical score back then. It seemed.
I think that she would have been as successful under 6.0 because she's relentless.
Yeah.
But I think they would have been even nastier to her at first. And she would have had to do different things to be successful. Like, remember they went to work with that guy on skating skills the last season? I think they would have needed to go much earlier. Right. Do different. Right. But I still think that she would have been successful because
she would have gotten away. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like when people say they look at someone skating now and they're like, well, he wouldn't have been good at figures. And I'm like, that doesn't mean that at all, right? Like Nathan Chen and Yuzuru probably both would have been good at figures because their minds allowed them to focus on what they needed to do in order to be successful. And it would have actually changed their skating.
Right. They would have gone through the requirements and they would have put the same amount of effort and talent that they did into the free skating and they would have figured it out. Yeah.
Yes.
I believe that.
Yeah. That's what I think. Yeah, right. Like people make that argument. Now, do I think that Yuzuru might have had a bigger advantage of Nathan in terms of the run of edge? Yes. But do I think that Nathan's mind would have made him very successful at figures? Yes.
And then you've got someone like Jason, where I was like, I could actually see him going either way in the figures department, even though obviously all the quality is there. Is that the kind of thing that inspires him in the training, though? That lack of performance in those moments?
Jason is Jason.
Who's joining a Yuzu tour? Is that what we're hearing?
And good for Yuzu for inviting other skaters into his show. I think it makes him more interesting, actually, and he's able to do more. After the stunt of your one-person show, I think, the uniqueness of that, then to add in other skaters, I think it opens up artistic opportunities.
Yeah.
Right? Like I think you're able to do more with more people and, he can react and do solos and do this. That's what I
And also take a breather. You don't want to have to skate the whole show. Yeah.
They were breathers in the other show too, but
I mean,
yes, he did an outrageous amount of skating. Okay. And there's no denying that. So I'm sure his fans will attack. We even said, who cares? Okay. Outrageous amount of skating, but there were breathers. There were videos that they were showing when they're changing costume. And yes. Okay. It was okay. But Jonathan, how do you feel about Jason going into Worlds this year?
Unsure.
Right?
Unsure. Less sure than last year for some reason, and I don't know why that is.
It just seems like a year older, a year more tired. He hasn't done a good...
And the repeat program, which inevitably is a gorgeous program, and we did not see it very much last season, so I understand the logistics behind it. but it's not also the excitement we went into last year's Worlds, where we were looking forward to seeing that program at Worlds. And this year we already have seen it. So
this year, I'm just thinking, is he going to survive? Right? If Ilia wins, can Jason be at least 12th? That's a bad energy to go into competition with. And last year, I thought the motivation was that he absolutely could do extremely well. He almost won nationals, right? This year,
the field's deepening again.
is the motivation just to get more shows?
Yeah.
Is the motivation to be successful, right?
But to that end, I'm like, does you doing this world make more show invitations happen? I don't know. I think
I think it does. I think he's so relevant right now, but I think he doesn't need them, right?
I don't
he doesn't
think he would need the exposure to get those invitations.
It
But
helps.
he's just keeping his name top of mind.
It helps when you skate well. When you do badly at these competitions, I don't think it really helps. You look less desirable. But if you do well, like he did last year, it makes you more desirable.
Right. And then there's the Camden question.
I mean,
anything can happen. Yeah.
Anything can happen. I think the real situation is Justin Dillon and how is the management of these skaters going? And that's what I don't see.
Yeah.
I look at how rough the US has performed across everything. One, I think sending all of the skaters to Tammy, who was the head coach that Justin used to work for, now that he's in charge and he's still sending everyone to Tammy, and look, they're not getting any results. So clearly the management's not working so well, right? That's objectively a mess, right? Because then you also have every coach knowing that if they get anyone to a certain level of triples, that they're just going to move them into Tammy. But here's the thing. She's not Bella Caroli. When you sent people to Bella and Marta, right, they would send dozens there, right? And the Federation didn't have to. People just like got a clue. And here you can just wake a clue and be like, oh yeah, politically you have to send someone to Tammy. Well, here's the thing. The Carolis did have a certain level of talent and a certain system that worked for certain people, and it would make certain people very successful. There were also a ton of people that were never heard from again, that were injured, broken backs, whatever, and they faded into the dust, right? We don't remember them. YouTube and Instagram weren't around in the same way. Tammy hasn't even made a champion. Is Karen Chen her claim to fame?
No.
Yes, you can now say that's Olympic champion Karen Chen, unless someone goes and watches the video, right? So Tammy hasn't produced it, right? I'm still at Ricky Dornbush was the top skater in 2010, 2011. And then what happened? Like he should have won nationals that year that they gave it to Ryan Bradley. Right. And then we never saw him motivated or consistent like that ever again. Like what happened? All I know is Tammy is a common denominator in all of this, right? Like that's, and they're sending everyone to her. And you have Raphael, like at least Raphael, even if these skaters are mostly coaching themselves, he gives a good quote. He's good for TV. He gets interest, right? People kind of recognize him. He's a caricature at times. He knows how to play it up for the camera. He knows how to work people on the phone. He knows how to call judges. He has connections. Like if Amber were with Roth, even if she were mostly coaching herself, I think he'd be able to call up people on the phone and work them like Carlo Fassi, because that's the game internationally, right? Yeah. You know that Ilia Malinin's agent has been sending him over to Europe to make him more famous there, but to also try to influence judges, make him more appealing. He's doing the political work that the USFS isn't doing, right? That's what he's trying to do. I mean, I have to tell you, when I know that Igor Lukanin runs the Azerbaijan Federation and that he is longtime friends with Ilia's parents, and at Skate America, that the judge from Azerbaijan gave Ilia Malinin a 9.75 in skating skills, like I almost fell over. Okay, because it's like, okay, that's how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
Okay, like that is how the sausage is made. And I texted Igor and I was like, 9.75, really? And he replied, he's improved. That is how the sausage is made. Okay. Like, and you know that it's happening every which way in skating.
Mm.
So
If you're playing that political game, which
everybody is playing that political game.
but some people seem to play it certainly better than others.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Tammy, you're playing, okay, if you go to Tammy, you're playing the international game domestically. You're trying to get a senior B assignment instead of going to sectionals, right? You're hoping that, but she's not improving your skating, right?
And there seems something just provincial about the whole camp.
Yes.
Like, it is only for domestic advancement politically, not actual improvement, stepping up of the skating, or being seen differently internationally.
Amber used to be with the Canes, who the Canes were also playing domestically. Peter Kane was a caller, right? They were like very tight with Scott Brown, right? They were like in it, right? Oh my God. These people are so transparent. When they did a David Santee interview and it was like with the Canes and another caller at the Olympics, and you're like, do you think we're not smart enough to know that this is how this game is played? Like, are you kidding? Like, you're joking, right? Like, God bless them. These people. Listen, not a lot of people have gone to college in skating. Not a lot of people have gone to grad school, Jonathan. They haven't worked in corporate America. These are not people that have a lot of awareness that we see your fingerprints on this.
Right.
So you got to start thinking internationally, right? That's why they brought Nina Mosier in. She wasn't bringing the technical expertise. Maybe if she was bringing Dr. Shevetsky to help the team, that would have been different. But they're hoping Nina's going to, like, you know, throw some 0.5s and 0.25s with some of these judges, right? So Raphael would be smart for Amber. I just don't know if, like we don't always have like the right person with the right coach at the right time, or like Alysa Liu with Raf, maybe, or someone. She's in Southern California.
I was literally just contemplating that. But if she has been burnt out and she kind of wants to do her own thing and not have that intensity around her, maybe that's not the right choice for her.
I think he could handle it. I think they could work something out.
Okay. I would think
I sent someone to Raphael. You cannot have Raphael sitting there. Like they need to send Ilia Malinin to Raf. But the problem is, if you don't see Raphael, this is my theory on why, is that Ilia's parents, they were village skaters, right, in Russia. That's why they went to Uzbekistan. They were not going to make the Russian team, so they went to another country. The Igor Lukanin side door. It's the same like watching Lori Loughlin get into, like Igor Lukanin specializes that. Like they invented solo dance, right? They were singles coaches for skaters of countries, right? So you watch that with his parents. So his parents are now going to want their due, right? They're going to want their due and not want to share the limelight with Raphael. But we saw how Ilia Malinin has done at the Nationals the last 2 years.
Right.
And how he did at Worlds last year. I think you need to bring Raphael in now. You want to be an Olympic champion, and it's great that he's this amazing talent, but now you need the grooming and the expertise because skating isn't this provincial sport.
And the experience, yeah.
You're against Lori Nickel. Right. She was in the John Curry Company. Ilia Malinin's mother was skating to Aladdin for like who knows how many seasons, right? Like there's a difference in quality and class there.
Yeah.
Like Yuma could be second place in every competition until the Olympics and win at the right time because he has Lori freaking Nickel there. He has Carolina Kostner in person and his father, who's also an Olympian with better skating skills than Ilia Malinin's parents, right? Like there are ingredients there to make a well-rounded skater. So
should you choose to do it? Yeah. Although that clip of what did he do? Quad toe, quad axle, and combination. Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, just hope he stays healthy.
Look, he looks peaked right now.
Yeah.
He looks at the peak of his ability right now.
Yeah.
You keep flying him over all around the world, everywhere. Listen, I hope he cashes in right now.
Yeah.
You don't know what he's going to be like in 2 years, right? So I hope they are getting him the deals, and I'm sure he has to win Worlds to get Nike to sponsor him and whatever, but you need you need to cash in right now. I mean, USFS has no sponsors. They have Prevagen. They have Ollie's Bargain Basement, right? These are not the sponsors that you want.
Right.
Right. So hopefully someone is helping them, because the USFS isn't helping themselves. And they have no.
What would not inspire me as a sponsor is to hop into a sport that is having dance party themes for the next 2 seasons. I think of all the news, of all the, you know, sort of mediocrity at Junior Worlds, of all the different stories going around, the most horrifying to me in recent history is the dance party announcement or whatever that was.
It reeks of desperation.
Yeah. And it's so wrong move.
And it reeks that you don't have any faith in the quality of your sport and in the quality of what you're offering.
Yeah. You don't trust the craft if you think it has to be apologized for. And I don't know if I've used this analogy here. It reminds me, there was that wave in the 90s I found where I was in the Midwest, where like all these churches were trying to become like the hip church. And so it'd be like a bunch of suburban moms with tambourines and t-shirts clapping in a service, and they thought
Guitar Mass, Jonathan. It was called Guitar Mass. Okay. It was at 5:30 on Saturday night. Yes.
And they think they're like so hip and cool and it attracts a young crowd. And I was like, you are so making this worse. This is so much worse than anything else you could be doing. And that's what it feels about these.
They replaced it with you know, bilingual mass because of, you know, immigration. And they were like, well, maybe the Latinas will come, right? But when that was also cringy at first, when you have a bunch of white people trying to speak Spanish and messing up the accents. And
it's not the solution you think it is. And we know that the ISU for a long time was looking to like those TV dance shows or competition shows is sort of a model that could help enhance ice dance. And I was like, I don't think it needs it. And also those shows are out of date.
Well, now they are. At the moment, they were in 2010, they were everything, right? And not even 20, yeah, like 2010, 2008, 2007, like they were it, right? But this is skating. We're almost 20 years after that.
Behind it. And so now it just seems so dated. And I was like, there's nothing wrong with seeing a pattern in a rhythm dance. Why can we not see that? Like,
don't you realize that most of the coaches who are around then are either dead, dying, or working in real estate? So it has this energy of the last people at the party, right? Yeah. The lights are going on and you're still freaking there.
Yeah.
There were some drunk Italian men at my sister's wedding. When the lights went on, they were singing Sinatra and Dean Martin. They were drunk to the hills, and they were, you know, still singing. And you know what? They were having a great time, and good for them. But it feels like this is still going on, right? And it feels like the Tammys and the Sean Redstats are like, oh, now is my moment to be successful. I can wheel and deal to get to the top. And it's like, the top of what?
I know. And by doing what? Like, when you said he thought the 80s has been a success, I was like, then there's no path forward. If you thought this worked, when collectively all of the fans, all of the athletes, all of the creative teams are like, this did not work.
And why did Caitlyn Weaver make that the 80s were some women? And why does she act better than everyone in skating constantly? She went to Nikolai when he had a teenage bride. She just worked with Diana and Gleb last week. That's taking a Terry's money from Putin, by the way. And like, poor Diana, she's not her mother, but she's transparently a product of someone who's not talented. They bought a talented boy who has a very wealthy father, right? Or found whatever you want to, Gleb is, right? And they've wheeled and dealed every which way to try to climb their way in ice dance when she's working with him at Chelsea Piers. I'm sorry, but Caitlyn, you don't get to then act holier than thou constantly. And I get that this is someone who came out very late in life, so you're still like figuring out who you are and calibrating. And I think that she's a good person. I really do. I don't think that Caitlyn.
She does it. Like, for instance, the program she was choreographing for the dance team that won Junior Worlds, like, it's clear she has interesting ideas.
I hate Mao Shimada's program that she did for her, but I also hate the costume, and I don't think it's
No,
all.
what she was doing in the dance discipline was far more interesting to me. Some of the
I'm horrified. Like dance party to me, I think of that really cringe moment in their rhythm dance when Caitlyn and Andrew tried to be like really, but again, that was, if you think about it, that was a girl that was having to be in the closet to try to get ahead in the homophobic world of figure skating and ice dance with Russians, right? Like, but then immediately comes out and now wants to correct everything. And
yeah.
it's like too much, right? Like she could just be a person and we like her. Like,
But wasn't
enough.
she trying? This was a tweet she sent out where she was trying to defend the '80s thing because she was
Because
like,
she's in a weird spot. In every which situation, she's on a weird spot because she's the athlete rep. And I do feel for her because she's someone that almost made her mark in skating. They almost won the worlds, maybe like that one time. And then there was always someone better, right? There
right,
was always someone more charismatic. There was always someone that had more star quality. So she now has that thing that, listen, Brian Orser was a silver medalist, Marie France was a silver medalist, right? Where you feel like you have to achieve because you didn't get it done. So she's a commentator, she's a choreographer, she's on the ISU, she's choreographing Stars on Ice that doesn't have lighting anymore. They're figuring out ways to keep Stars on Ice afloat by taking out the lighting rig, and they're like, we'll just use a spotlight. They're just trying to keep the sport afloat.
yeah.
Like it's so sad. Like they
Then
don't know how
then
to
try
still.
to do it by improving the quality and like
She is trying.
a
She's trying, but
dance
she's trying
party.
to.
No one's going to tune in and think that's cool and unexpected and fun. It's going to be cringe. Why not just have some really awesome tangos and waltzes and cool
But here's
stuff?
the problem. In skating, there are some people who are blessed, and there are some people that work their tails off to always be second. Tessa Virtue from, had the ballet lines and the ballet training, right? And she was a freak of nature who happened to also be paired up with a freak of nature, and they had the right coach. And it kind of synergistically came together. And then, yes, everybody blessed and pushed those kids forward because they saw that once in a generation talent. And
Right.
someone like Caitlyn Weaver has had to work and claw and strive and, be noticed. So that's why you still see that level of effort,
Mm,
right, from her, because she's been working that hard her entire career. Right.
yeah.
There's always, come on, she had to switch countries. She's doing a seminar or was retweeting a seminar from Canada about ethical costuming and ethical this. And it's like, okay, you're still American. You lived in America the entire time that you were representing Canada. You're not actually Canadian. You are a great fake Canadian. You're commentating like for nationals, but you're actually American. Like you actually live in New York. Like it's okay. But like it's so strong, that vibe.
It's just
But
to me, all these decisions take them further away from where they want to be. They're digging their
But
own
like
grave.
also she's okay, she's the social justice warrior, but then and I think she really wants to do well and do good things. Like I do think that her heart is in the right place, but then she also wants to be successful. So I feel like those two things are afloat, right? When you want to do the right thing and then you're helping a Terry's daughter, where you're getting in bed with a Terry, right?
Right.
This is a Terry trying to figure out how to maneuver her daughter to the top. Do you think that she really went to Caitlyn for her skating expertise, or do you think that she went to Caitlyn because she's on the ISU council and is hoping that that's gonna pull some levers?
Yeah, well, like when they were using Eric Radford's music.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
When you're trying to, when I found out that Sean Redstadt and his husband helped Zingis and Kolesnik design costumes, I thought, oh, Igor Spielban, you sly fox. Okay, no wonder that costume made no sense for Beauty and the Beast. The whole season, the colors were off, but you had the head of the ISU council consult on costumes. Well, you have to compete with Marie France some way, right? When they have it's just a dirty world, okay? And the longer people stay in it, the longer they go nuts and lose sense of who they are as people, right? Like this is just
Or what would
blatantly.
really help the discipline? At this point, I'm like, then cut the rhythm dance. Just
Yes.
give it. I would rather just have beautiful free dance competitions than have to watch a dance party. I mean, this whole season was
Should the head of the ISU be consulting on costumes for teams? Do you think that's fair, Jonathan?
it's such a
Do you think he's Matthew Caron? Look at how he dresses himself. When you do a Google search for him and you find that picture of him in the ridiculous suit, like this is a man who wants to make his mark in skating.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
people like power more than the craft itself. When we wonder why is skating fallen off of a cliff when they had a beautiful product in the 80s and the 90s, right? Why is it like this now? Well, these are
Yeah.
people who wanted power.
Yeah.
It's not about the skating. It never has been, right?
And that's what we miss as the fans. And
Yeah.
nowhere is that more evident also than at an event like Junior Worlds.
I
Even
couldn't
with Mao Shimada and Alysa Shin, it was still, you know, it was a
Awful.
trying watch. We sort of had to force ourselves to do it.
They both have taller than last year. Otherwise, it's a complete revisit of last year.
Yeah.
And frankly, Mao Shimada skated better last year, but she has grown. And this is the
thought
sad
that's the
part.
case for Gia here. Yeah.
And you can watch the Valyeva documentary with the Terry and know what's going on with Mao Shimada. Mao Shimada is now taller. If you look at the angle of her posture, she's pitched forward because her core has not gotten strong enough.
The jumps look closer to the ice than I remember.
Right. And what do you think Mia Hamada is telling her? Do you think she's telling her to work off ice and strengthen her core and get stronger? Or do you think
it's not a positive thing? Yeah.
Or do you think it's she needs to dry out and lose weight, which is what Ateri told Valyeva in that documentary? Stop sitting.
Yeah.
So
I didn't understand what that expression meant. What did Ateri mean when she was? What did she mean by dry out?
To have no fat, no water in you.
Oh dear. Okay.
Yes.
Quite literally dry out your body. Okay.
It's a Russian expression.
Okay.
Adam and Ashley said it to me when I interviewed them.
They had talked about like dry diet, like eat dry food.
No, even Galina said it to me once. She called me fat one week, and then a week later, she's like, "Oh, you look dry."
Huh. Okay.
And you know, I worked out like a mother and ate clean, like to get so that it's to dry out. It's a Russian thing.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Now I'll have a bunch of people in the comments defending a Terry who will say that they've never heard it before, even though you can find it.
Yeah.
Hey, in the Moscovina interview, you know when I asked Moscovina about when she said that people from St. Petersburg were smarter than people from Moscow, and she's like, I never said that. I found the clip.
On video, yeah.
I found the clip because it's not on YouTube anymore. I love Russians. Oh my God. Yes.
Amazing. Yeah. Yeah. It's all verifiable, folks.
I still love her. Like, yes.
Yeah. Not actually, in a way.
Listen, I mean, I love her as a character. I don't know, like I don't deal with her, but no, I like her in my interactions. Do I think that she rigged the 2002 Olympics? I don't think that she personally had to. I think that there may have been other people that did that for her. And I think that you can also argue that her team was better. Right? But do I think that someone actually influenced a judge? Yeah, I think it happens all the time. What about the other 4 judges? And what about the 4 judges that went the other way on the panel?
Right.
It wasn't just one judge. Like that's
it all boils down. They make it seem like it was one judge, but you're like, but what about all the others that also said yes first place?
Yeah, like how about how they always put all of that on Jan Hoffman for 94?
I was just going to bring up Jan Hoffman in 94 because they did that to him.
Right? But then in 98, he went for Michelle over Tara. And that's like consistent. He has an artistic preference. But if you go back and you watch Jan Hoffman against Robin Cousins, I think Jan Hoffman is probably the most evolved, intelligent, honorable person in skating. Because you want to know why? He voted for the
artist. Yeah.
That's what he lacked. He appreciated what he lacked as a skater.
Yeah.
He's the one person in skating that's like honorable, and they raked him over the coals in 94.
Right.
Justice for Jan Hoffman. He was like pretty much unwatchable, but a great jumper.
And defended his marks. Always stood by them. He was like, yeah, came down to who did I find more artistically satisfying, and that's who I found more artistically satisfying. Made total sense to me.
He did way more triples than Robin Cousins. Robins were just prettier. As Jonathan would say, they meant more, right?
Yeah, they're more important. Yeah.
His open axle was more important. It was.
I loved that open axle thing. But remember, Jutta Mueller, not exactly a Lori Nichols.
Not a Lori Nickel.
Gabby Seifert was no Michelle Kwan.
You know what? I like Gabby. She was
I do
just
too.
bum, 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 bum. She was like an Ethel Merman type, right?
She was an Ethel Merman type. That's exactly right. With those brassy double axles and all
This is
that.
the problem with skating. Once they got away from the 6-0, and then now this mathematical equation, when they're all skating to these really sad, not even sad ballads anymore. They're just like Mao's music is like a redux of last. All the music is terrible in singles. It's unwatchable. And why does no one from Korea stretch their legs? Like none of them.
Gia
The
does?
legs are always bent. Even Gia. Look at Gia's camel. It's hideous.
Okay.
All of Gia's spins were bad. Not just the last one where she had the bobble. The
Right.
camel, her second spin is. I don't even think her mother could love it. Her mother's probably yelling at her about it.
Okay.
These girls need Pilates for days, okay, to just fix things. And it is unwatchable. It's sad. It's like, why does skating used to be fabulous? You'd watch Midori against Jill Trenery, and you could pick a side, right? You could say
It was
Midori.
the picking a side, Dave. Like that's the thing. Like when I look at a Mao Shimada and a Gia Shin,
They're the same, vaguely.
they're formulaic. And whereas you were even talking about 92, like you had such different camps to root for. Christy had nothing to do with Nancy, had nothing to do with Tanya, had nothing to do with Midori, had nothing to do with Chen Lu. Like there were such individual things you were rooting for.
Like you could call Tanya trash and be like, yeah, and she can jump.
Yeah. And it's
Like,
exciting, and we're gonna watch it for that. Yeah.
Yes, you dentist daughter with your gorgeous lines and whatnot, but we can jump. Okay.
And I would have had Tanya third in 92.
Whatever. That
Just
Born on the 4th of July is iconic. Okay. That program is, like we didn't really like seen free skates like that were like dramatic and what the idea is brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, the Mark Militano choreography. He makes things way too hard. I posted a video of him working with Paul where he wanted Paul to do like these like squat plies and stuff. I'm dying to get Mark on the show.
He would be
Because
very interesting. Yeah.
he's a hot tamale, like of all time. And he
Okay.
dated Sandra and they broke up at the Olympics in the winter snow falling down. Yes. Okay. And
yes. Okay.
when all of his competitors were doping, because it goes back 50 years, people, longer than that. He might have said that was BS or something. He said you can't find the clip anymore, but he was mouthy on TV, like, and it was caught. And then in 73, the 73 Worlds were like super controversial, and they restarted his program 4 or 5 times, and there were like little wires on the ice, and the record player wasn't going at the right speed, all stuff that like we wouldn't notice now. And he's like in front of the judges, like pissed, and they keep restarting that. I mean, that Melissa Militano was a saint. Okay.
Yeah, putting up with a lot. Yeah.
He quit like on the spot. He was done.
What was going on there?
A lot of politics and a lot of political,
like sabotage.
Unless they just had a really messed up record player. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah.
I have the footage of it from 73. It's mind-blowing. It's like he looks like John McEnroe out there. Like these are the kind of.
I bet that would be.
This is a man. This is a man who was married to Mary Scottvold's twin sister. He loves ballet and Pilates, and like he's hilarious.
And plays at the right speed when you're competing. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, he's the best. To get him to rant, I tried to get him on for nationals, and everybody's afraid to say anything. And I'm like, no, Mark, we just need you to, like, if you could come on.
Yeah.
You could talk about the waitress messing up your breakfast order. I just, these artistic types, Jonathan. You ever had a music teacher that was sane in high school or middle? Never, right?
No, it attracts a very unusual type at times. Yeah.
Every music teacher I've ever had was
a little quirky in their own way. Yeah.
Like an English teacher on steroids.
Right? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
Journalism professors are like that too, but different.
Okay. Probably.
Journalism professors want to slit your throat more. English professors want to intellectually guide you and tell you right, in a different way.
Okay.
Yes. Mhm. Yeah. So we need Mark. We need.
I agree. I agree.
Okay. Like
I keep forgetting I'm going to Worlds.
you're going.
I'm going, and it was expensive.
I can't believe it.
I know.
It'll be fun. You think?
I guess.
Are you? What excited? I couldn't make.
No, like suddenly as I realized, I'm like, oh, it's like in 2 weeks.
Montreal's gorgeous. Go to the plateau. Go have like.
Yeah. I sang at the opera there and lived next to the plateau. It was one of those. It's not a city I get as much as other people seem to.
Just imagine Christine Brennan going behind the scenes for like Diana, and for Nikolai Sorensen, and just humor yourself. You have to meet Maya. You have got to meet Maya in person.
Oh, she seems so lovely on all the interviews.
I want you to have a glass of wine with Maya. Okay. I know that she interviewed Phil and it hasn't been published yet, but she went to Russia, like she was visiting family, and then she was there. She was there during the Navalny funeral. She was like in Russia during that time.
Jeez. Oh, geez.
Yeah. So that was like what the time. I was like, Maya, are you okay? Like, can you not be in Russia right now? We need you at the World Championships. Can you just be in Russia? Okay. Like, my God.
I need to sort of like start revving myself up for it so I can be excited.
So does Cowrie, because she looked real bad at the Challenge Cup. This is
out of what she was hoping would have been 3 triples. She landed 1 in this event. You know, at that Challenge Cup.
How are you feeling about her chances? You think she's going to pull it together for like, you know how Michelle Kwan with like 2001, she got it together for that.
I think she might pull it together because I think the field is wide open.
The field is terrible.
She's still the favorite.
The field is a mess. The field is not good. It's so interesting to me that with Russia out, there was all of this opportunity for someone to emerge who was like talented and going to take the bull by the horns. It hasn't happened. And even in ice dance, I haven't seen stars emerge other than Fear and Gibson, who have the charisma that has been rising, but not necessarily the skating. They're the ones that have moved forward. I can't say that
the ones that stand to benefit from a dance party theme.
Jonathan, 1,000% they are on the podium at the Olympics. On the podium. Take it to the bank. Okay. Like, yes. Yeah. They have the charisma. They're young enough. They're likable. They have big features that are great for the camera. The people love them. They're workhorses. They improve. And they're against a bunch of people who are long in the tooth, right? Piper and Paul.
Not well suited to a dance party theme.
No. And here's the thing with Chalk and Bates is that they've done well winning. But as soon as the French announced their comeback after the World Championships, I don't know. Like, are you going to stick around for 2 more years for a team gold medal and like an individual medal? Because Evan has had issues with injuries where it's gone up and down, right? And when they were in that Today Show interview, when they were sick with the flu after nationals, they didn't seem to be like, yes, we're going for 2026, right? And you have to wonder, if you've become world champion, do you want the individual medal that badly when you've also seen what a joke the Olympics can be, when you've been robbed of a team medal for how many years? And you've been in the sport for how many years? How disillusioned are they by this? And the sad part is, yes, they're winning right now, but do you think it was more fun when they had like real competitors like Hubble and Donahue, Papadakis and Cizeron? Like those were like teams, right? It just feels like people
love an event in which they can win the World Championships with a giant fall because it was that predetermined.
That predetermined, and the field wasn't that strong.
That's what I mean. Like there was no one that would have prevented that win from happening.
No.
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like they've gotten like they've improved steadily, but they haven't gotten that much better than they were 2 years ago. They figured out their formula maybe the SNAP program year where they
Yes.
really nailed it, and they've been at like a very good level. But I can't say that they're improving leaps and bounds in ice dance. Right? Like they're this year it kind of feels like
Fine.
we're hanging on. We're
Yeah.
number one.
Yeah.
But I don't know anyone that thinks that they're going to be number one when the French come back. And then you have to think mentally, 2 years starts to feel like a long time.
And the Italians do seem to be rising in their scores.
Well, because Barbara Fusarpoli just got the Hungarian team that's really Russian and that trains in Russia. So now Barbara's playing with the politics of the dark arts against Marie-France. And Barbara's ambitious, as we saw at the 2006 Olympics.
Right.
So I wouldn't feel great about that.
Yeah.
Because now you've moved down to Marie-France's hierarchy. And I
don't think that individual Olympic medal is a given.
Oh, I could see them in fourth again because I could
can't
see it
imagine staying in for that result.
Wouldn't you see it going France, Italy?
Could be Canada. Third.
Could be Great Britain third.
Could be Great Britain third.
I could see both of those teams bowing out, at least one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, these girls are old enough, they're married. If they want to have children, you have to start thinking about that. It's also not super easy for figure skaters to have children after so many years of what you have to do to your body to be competitive. That's another sad thing that we're thinking of, right? When fertility issues, because there are real side effects of being a figure skater for that long, okay? I keep telling Alexa, though, I think she should come back 6 months before. I told her I think Danny O'Shea could and would, or I think Danny's father would dump that partner that's not landing any of the jumps. And we could replace Alexa. I think Alexa could get to the Olympics and be national champion with like 7 different partners. Timothy Leduc, Danny O'Shea. If Brandon doesn't want to come back for more gambling money, then 1, get him a clue. 2, then Timothy Leduc is right there.
Right.
Right there. Timothy Leduc is the one I wanted her to skate with last time. I thought you have Timothy Leduc, a wonderful, vibrant talent, and Alexa, a vibrant, feisty personality. Put them together.
Yeah.
Work together. Okay.
And Audrey Shin, question mark? Audrey
Shin, who's been learning pairs. Listen, and she has talent. So Martinov, the one that's with that coach Trudy in Minnesota, has had like a million different tryouts with different partners. Girls have moved there for him. Either he needs to switch coaches and get a clue, but you know, the coach always gets their hooks into a boy, right? They always, the good boy, they take them to the top. But he dates Star Andrews. When is Star going to realize that she's a wonderful skater with talent, although her mother's a better performer? Did you see her mother in adult skating?
I thought she's been doing those adult skating championships things.
You know what Sylvia Fontana said? Finally, one skating mother who's not a hypocrite. I mean, it was... Listen,
she was fun to see, yeah.
Mrs. Andrews, fabulous. In Star's dress, with more presentation than we have ever seen. Yeah, you go, honey. Okay. You go.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yes. She did what Star never could. Okay. If she had Star's training, Mrs. Andrews, you would have been 10 times the star. Okay. I see it in you. Okay. Just like every stage mother. Yes. Rose's turn. Okay. That's what you should have skated to.
Yeah, that's what she should have skated to. Yes.
All right. Loved it. Audrey Shin, I would go with Balazs. Balazs and Chelsea. Listen, USFS, Spencer has had problems with his shoulder. He was in LA. They made them have a skate off at Synchro Nationals.
Oh.
And Chelsea Liu missed all of her jump elements, the throws, the side-by-sides. Come on. They have how many good white boys has this girl skated with? They all look the same. I don't know. They all seem like interchangeable parts. What is the difference between Brandon and Brian Johnson? Besides the pants.
Yeah, amazing.
Where is Brian Johnson now?
Do miss those.
I always said Alexa only needed a penis with arms and she would win. Okay, so
and Balazs does that beautiful twist.
Yes, I think Audrey Shin could do a twist with Balazs.
Yeah.
Or Danny could replace Audrey Shin, but I think Danny should hold out for Alexa. And I think Alexa should hold out until Danny's father buys her a surrogate so that she can come back.
And I think Alexa is the type that could come back on short
Imagine the People magazine story if Alexa gets her gold medal and like her newborn baby at the same time, and she could put it around the newborn baby's
like a bouquet of flowers that's handed to her on.
Yeah, because Canada, whose man runs the ISU, is, you know, getting into the fight afterwards. Yeah. That's like the Jan Brady of skating. Okay, Marsha. Well, maybe you should have fought at the actual moment. Okay.
Yeah.
Marsha went for being Juliet. She knew that she was a winner. Okay. You have Canada. They're so passive aggressive with everything. Like Laurence and Nick didn't compete at nationals, but suddenly they're competing at worlds and everything is fine and different.
Yeah.
That is so Canada. Okay.
Yeah, Ice Dance, not the event I'm looking forward to in Montreal either. I'm really going for the men's event. I want to see Yuma and Shoma.
The pairs. I think what would be amazing is if that Georgian team that's really Russian, you know,
who did quite terribly at Junior Worlds, but obviously still won because really it's a senior pair. But
a senior pair. One of them's been to the Olympics before. A joke. Okay, they were just at Europeans. They messed up there. Then we're at Junior Worlds. Sure.
Yeah. And he's a partner that makes me uncomfortable.
I would like you to get a photo with Terry at Worlds. I believe that you're a winner. Oh, please, Jonathan. You would push your way to the front to get on a reality TV show anyway.
No, when they call and ask. But like, she would think I'm not dry enough. She'd be like, get that wet man away from me.
Whatever. She's used to people that aren't dry. She's on that show where she had the girls were dressed up as animals in the other week because that's how the world treats them. And she wasn't happy they didn't lose enough weight. She really has a very small part in the show. Like she's not like the producers are horrific, right?
Oh. Yikes.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
You could ask her what animal she thinks that you could dress up as.
There it is.
The show is called Big Girls.
Yikes.
Jonathan, you meet
It's also cringe.
Get a photo with the Terry, okay? And if you see Danny's father, tell him get a surrogate for Alexa Knierim because a side-by-side double, like, come on. You get her like 6 months before. Danny could train at home and the whole deal. Listen, if you get Alexa, Danny's father should get a surrogate for Madison Chalk and for Alexa, okay? That way, we're first place in 2 of the disciplines at the team event. Sorry, Deanna.
Yeah.
Okay. Alexa knows how to send Christmas cards better than Deanna. Okay, she's going to get better. Okay. She knows how to fake it better with her partner, Deanna. Okay. I'm sorry.
I will be intrigued to see Deanna live. That will be very nice. Because I've not seen her in Max live, I don't think.
I hope she gives you the full world's drama level of Deanna. One way.
I have no doubt.
Okay. You know, big, you know, I think she'll rise to the occasion with her dramatic personality, right? One way or another.
She knows how. She will give you a dance party.
It'll be like a Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion. Okay. I don't know which one she'll be playing the part of. Maybe Phaedra Parks, maybe Kenya Moore.
This is a hybrid situation. Yeah.
Yes. She will rise to that occasion. But you have, yes, complete mess. Just, all right. Alexa should come back because then we'll have a dance person in the team. We'll have a dance person. we will have a pair. We'll have Alysa Liu. And then we've got Ilia. Boom. Danny O'Shea and his father, right? The skating father. They survived the Big Brother house. They won. Right? They will get a team gold medal. Right? Russia won't be there. We won't have to worry about it. We had to pay for 2 surrogates. You know what? You call Tara Lipinski. She's like the queen of surrogates right now with this podcast. She'll know who to go to. She wants to have 4 kids occurring to her podcast. Yes.
Too many.
She has money for a nanny. Why not?
There it is.
You don't think she's raising them herself if she has 4, okay? They have sports documentaries to produce. Come on.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. This is what we need to do. We're going to win it. It'll be the last Olympics. Boom. Also, the gymnastics. You got to get into it. It's a mess. Okay. We have Suni Lee, who's making her comeback with all these kidney problems that she's had. Then we have Gabby Douglas. First of all, the fact that Russians have like all African-American gymnasts, comedy in itself, based on that culture and how accepting they are. And then you have Gabby Douglas with the most dramatic mother of all time, who has fought with every coach, however many coaching changes she had. She just left Valeri Lukin, which how is Nastia doing? If you look at her Instagram, he's coaching Gabby. She split, left him for like a week. Now she's back before Olympic trials. Jonathan, we like mess. This is par for the course with Gabby. And she has all of the talent and all of the difficult mother that she needs.
When are the Olympic trials?
In June.
Okay.
June.
Isn't that crazy that it seems that so close to the Olympics as compared to like, well, I guess the figure skating is really only a month out sometimes.
Yeah, I know it was a messy road when we had COVID before. Like, how many people did we fake to the Olympics last time? Right?
Yeah.
How many people were praying for COVID? You know that they suggestively come up with the team ahead of time, right? Like
but that makes sense. They would have to a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
look at the Campbell's soup cans. You really think Tanya Kwiatkowski had a prayer?
I know. Poor Tanya.
Poor Tanya doing Madame Butterfly. So that Jonathan
Firebird for the 300th time in that short program. Yeah, with the shoulder things.
It's going to be messy. Well, next week we will preview Worlds officially and see what happens. But yes, this will be great. Oh, by the way, Tuktamisheva, the queen of Meldonium. Go watch her.
No drugs help. So
she doesn't understand doping. Go watch. And yes, it was not officially doping when she did it, but the drug is now banned. I have to explain jokes to people. Okay, it's now banned. And look, she doesn't understand doping, but look about how fast she was at the end of 2015 and watch any program after.
It didn't help. And it's not to say she didn't also work hard on it. That was her thing. She's like, you got to work hard. And I was like, yeah, you can work hard with or without those drugs.
She competed like 13 times. We knew that she was working hard.
We're talking about you working hard with the help of Meldonium.
I'll also say her Meldonium season, best season for her. When she was in the Moo, it was poetry.
The history of skating, like it was mind-boggling because we know it wasn't physically possible, only to find out that she had assistance. Yeah.
But poor Ashley and Gracie, though we always knew they were true queens. Okay.
I know.
Look at the personalities that we had. Ashley, Gracie, Mariah, Paulina. Now it just seems kind of like sad.
Yeah.
Everybody seems very sad. They're skating to sad music. Give me the Moulin Rouge, okay? That's what we need.
Have a little energy. Say something. Yeah. Somebody break out.
You know, I think that the ISU needs to make real changes to the
hold
an edge and look sexy.